The Eagles go to Lambeau. The Packers are fresh off a loss, and it's just a defensive slugfest. Though I would argue it was as much bad offense as it was good defense. It's scoreless at halftime. The scoring doesn't pick up much more after that, and the Eagles end up winning 10-7, despite Nick Sirianni's best attempt to let the Packers come back and tie it. Y'all's thoughts on this game? Should we start with Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, what are you doing? Just to think through it. So there's 20. I think it was like 30. There was 33 seconds left.
Yeah.
It is 10-7. You have the ball. I think it was at the 34 or the 35.
Yeah.
Would have been like a 52-yarder. It was technically into the wind, which there was a pretty decent gust that night. Jake Elliott hasn't been necessarily very accurate from that distance. It is 4th and 4.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
4th and 6.
4th and 6.
Okay, 4th and 6. Even worse. Green Bay has no timeouts. I understand you pick up the first down, you win the game. But if you kick a field goal, you win the game as well. Because now there's 29 seconds left and you're up 6. And they have to complete a Hail Mary. But not only do they have to complete a Hail Mary, they have to get down to the spot to be able to complete a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
By going for it and not converting, you give them the ball at the 35. And now had they completed something on 1st and 10, they would have tied the game without question. But going incomplete on 1st and 10, where they have Christian Watson over the top, honestly, maybe he could have caught that ball.
Sure.
And had they made that play, it would have been tied no matter what, because they would have had the ball at like the 25-yard line. Had they just picked something up short on that first one and then completed that pass over the middle, they would have had a really, really good chance to tie the game. But I don't care that you feel it's risky to kick the field goal, because with the wind, he said we would have had to kick it lower. There's a chance it could get blocked. So be it. Kicking the field goal is always the right play there, because you extend the lead to 6 and you make them have to at least get down the field and then complete a Hail Mary. The percentages are so much lower. If you just have good protection on one field goal kick, you give yourself a chance. And even if you miss it, you're in the same spot you were. At least you took your chance to kick the field goal and get the points. But then to go for it, to see an all-out blitz, Packers go cover 0, and you don't have like a slant route or anything like that. You just throw it deep to A.J. Brown in double coverage.
It's not like you whipped out your best play call or anything.
There's not like a screen pass to Saquon Barkley. Saquon doesn't just leak out on a little swing route. We hit Saquon. It makes no sense. I've pegged this team. I'm going to use that verb in this one.
It's apt.
As a team that should not be questioned. But sadly, I'm going to remove that and say that they should be questioned going forward.
This is special circumstances.
Because of coaching decisions and decisions down the stretch. I really, really trust this team to pull it off in big moments 90% of the time. But their 10% is because they allow it to be a 10%. It should be 100%. There should be no questions in these late spots in games. But Nick Sirianni has made his decision, and it's worse than even like what Dan Campbell will decide at times to go for it. It's boneheaded. It makes no sense.
There's also too, like, Nick Sirianni hasn't always been the most loved coach there, and it's not like this is the first time he's made bad decisions. A lot of us just calm down because, well, he won a Super Bowl, and so that gives you, a lot of grace for past actions and even some for future actions. But it's to the point it almost feels like he enjoys doing stupid stuff, and then they win just so he can be like, screw you, I won anyway. Like, you don't get to say that was a bad decision because it worked out, which is just not how that works. Because the Packers you just made it so much easier for them to go tie it, or even, tie it. I mean, the kick was nowhere close, but in theory they got to a
The
spot
first one was.
in theory they got
Which
to
is crazy the refs let them kick that first one.
Yeah.
Agreed.
In theory they got to a spot where a kick was makeable. And that really shouldn't have even been the case with the way the Packers were moving the football. That being said, though, they do get the win. I feel bad for the Packers defense. You hold the Eagles to 10 points at home. The second straight week you've held opponents under 20 points, you don't win either game. Because the offense is just so sluggish, conservative right now. There's no explosiveness. My read on it is they've had the injuries, right? And now you've even lost Tucker Kraft last week. And the passing game isn't really clicking. And so they've gotten scared and they've gotten conservative, and so where they don't even really try very much stuff, and they just run it very vanilla, and it's so easy to stop because of that. And it's like, sure, I understand stuff isn't really working. Your receiver core isn't great. Matthew Golden maybe hasn't made the splash you were hoping. Tucker Kraft's hurt. There's offensive line injuries. But you got to go try and make something happen instead of just being like, oh, we're going to run inside zone. Let's run inside zone again. Oh, let's run a little, slant. Let's try and out-route this. There just doesn't seem to be tons of creativity that we've known LaFleur to have. Mm-hmm. And so that's really frustrating. I think it's a lack of confidence thing, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. Matthew Golden didn't play in this game either, so there's another health one. Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Tucker Kraft all did not play. Elton Jenkins got hurt in this game. Their center.
He's going on IR.
And that's, it's going to be a tough one. Mississippi State legend, Elton Jenkins. I think confidence is a part of it. I also it's just frustrating because even with these injuries, I still feel like they have the playmakers to go beat a Philly secondary that's been tested and has not been perfect this year.
It's got to be better than this.
100%.
I don't care who's on your team and who's injured. As an NFL franchise that has legit aspirations, it can't look this bad. It's inexcusable for it to look this bad.
And it has looked better. I'd even say it looked really, really good 2 years ago. And that's pre-Josh Jacobs with essentially the same weapons and a Jordan Love in his first year as a starter. And that offense is really dynamic a ton. And they, punched the Cowboys. They beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. They won big games and big moments. And now that the defense has got figured out, the offense just isn't there. Is that the people have tape on Jordan Love? I hope that isn't the case because that's a pretty harsh reality given the amount of money you've given him and committed to him over the next 3 or 4 years. But I agree, Jack. You have to figure it out. You got to figure it out somehow. They're 5-3, and they really realistically should be 9-0. So I won't take back my claim of thinking they were going to be the 1 seed because they screwed it up, not me.
You're pulling the Josh Pate.
I'm going to pull the Josh Pate there. The players and coaches screwed that up.
And refs. Players, coaches, and refs.
I haven't seen an official script Packers game yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's his thing. Is he doesn't get things wrong. It's players, coaches, and refs that get it wrong.
It's just gonna feel, and we're not there yet because they're still 5-3. They're still in the playoffs. But if you waste this defense, and that's currently what they're doing, they have time to figure it out. But it's malpractice. It's inexcusable. Because simply defenses this good don't come around. They don't give up points. They suffocate you. They hit Devontae Smith over the top, but they're good at limiting explosives overall as a whole. But it's funny because the way the offense is playing right now, the offense just lets other teams do that to them as well. Mm-hmm. Basically be like, you can just keep everything in front of us because we're going to keep it so simple. You don't really have to worry that much about getting beat over the top. And so our defense will just boa constrictor you. But, hey, you can just turn around and do that to us right back. And then it's what's going to give, who's going to make the one big play to win the game.
And they have to figure it out because it is looking this way that the NFC is going to be a full-on arms race in the postseason of dynamic offenses and then defenses that are really opportunistic and can shut you down at big moments. Just think of the playoff teams right now, Philly is like that, where they can have good offensive performance, but their defense, they won 10-7 in your building. Seattle has been really dynamic defensively, but also offensively. The Detroit Lions, of course, dynamic offensively, can be opportunistic defensively. Tampa Bay, if they're healthy offensively. Los Angeles, Chicago, if they get going offensively. Those are all teams you're going to have to beat to make the Super Bowl, which I think is really realistic expectations given the way your defense is playing. And because of those being the teams you're going to have to play, it doesn't matter how damn good the defense is playing because the defense is not going to hold those teams to under 7 points.
Correct.
So your offense has to figure something out, and your offense has to figure out a way to score damn points because with your losses now, you can't even rely on the fact that you're going to play in 10-degree weather at Lambeau Field. That's not a guarantee right now.
For sure.
And you're not guaranteed to have that home field advantage. So it is a complete mishandling of these games so far, and their offense has to figure it out. If Green Bay's going to have any chance to go on a Super Bowl run, because you look at the other teams in the NFC, I don't think you can say without a shadow of doubt that they are better than really anyone but maybe Chicago.
They're not playing like it right now.
They haven't played Chicago yet, and that will be proven. They still have 5 division games left, and they have the same amount of losses as the Lions and Bears, so they're tied there at the division. So home field advantage is still in front of them, but they've got a lot of stuff to figure out.
Yeah, completely agree.
I can't wait till the end of the season when we can have the discussion around some of my Packers takes. Didn't like the Matthew Golden pick. Y'all both did. He has not had 100 yards receiving and doesn't have a touchdown this year. I wasn't a huge fan of Jordan Love coming into the season. JP had him as an A-tier quarterback behind only Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts, ahead of Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold. So I'm not going to say that those things have all settled because I also was very
Only
wrong.
halfway there.
Only halfway there. But if I could have been known that I was going to be at this point, after game 1, especially the Packers, I was shaking my boots. I was like, this team, I mean, people were joking about them going undefeated after the way they dismantled the Lions.
People in their building were saying that.
Yeah. I think we didn't say what happened on the show, but I think we addressed it as like this team is just so good. This defense is so good. They've got so many weapons at wide receiver. None of them I feel like were true ones, but when you have so many options, like it's hard for a defense to stop all of it. But it just hasn't clicked like that, like we thought it would for the entire season. So
that's the funny part too is like week 1, it's not like their offense played fantastic. You don't need this offense to play S-tier games to win.
Yeah.
Can you just play a B-tier game on a consistent basis and you'll score more than 7 points and you'd win a game like this? You just can't suck offensively, and they have sucked offensively too much this season. And so that's just really, really frustrating.